I want to talk about something a little bit different today, and that is something I've really been struggling with this past year since becoming a new mom, and that is how to balance my creative output or like the projects I'd love to work on while parenting. And over the past year, I've done a lot of reflecting. I've done a lot of freaking out. I've done a lot of, guilt tripping myself, and, a lot of stuff that just, isn't really helpful or is just not good for the psyche or the soul. And I wanted to share some of the reflections I've had, or some things that have been beneficial for me. And if you're a new mom or new dad and you are trying to figure out, how to adjust to this enormous and beautiful change, but also, honoring some of the things that you still would like to work on or do, I hope that this might be beneficial for you too. And if there's something that I've missed or something that was helpful for you that you want to add, please put it in the comments below. I'm always looking for new ways to help myself not freak out so much all the time. So there's kind of like 5 things that I've been reflecting on, and these are kind of like guidelines or mindsets, or guidelines and mindsets that help. Perhaps they're not going to like be magical fixes to get things done, but there may be things that can help relieve maybe the pressure you're putting on yourself or the frustration you might be feeling as you're making such a huge adjustment as being a new parent. And the first one is accepting that life is completely different now. They tell you when you're expecting a baby, they tell you that, man, life's going to change so much. It's a good change. It's beautiful. It's hard. It's all those things. And you don't really realize it until, the baby's born and you're like, oh my gosh, everything is absolutely completely different. Priorities are completely changed. Your schedule there's no schedule. It's just survival mode. So everything is completely different, and it takes a lot of time to adjust to how big of a change you've just, accepted in your life. And it's, of course, beautiful, wonderful. I love my baby so much. But still there's like this adjustment period that you have to contend with. And, I'm sure there's no set time that the adjustment period lasts. I don't think I'm through the adjustment period. I'm still, figuring life out, and, it's kind of a free for all sometimes, but it's helped me a lot to just allow myself to acknowledge that this is a big change, and it's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel maybe some grief about the life you previously had. It's okay to be frustrated that you can't just drop things and focus completely on a project, or I can't just decide to go to a coffee shop and work on writing, a few thousand words. That just isn't available as an option anymore for now. That can be some frustration. There can be some grief there. So allowing yourself, and that's okay. And also accepting that things are completely different, sometimes in really challenging ways, but overall in a very good way. That's been my kind of like a foundational thing. Like, this is different. Time to accept that, give yourself time. The second thing kind of along with that is reminding myself that everything is a season. And sometimes there are very challenging or intense seasons, especially, when you're adjusting to life with a newborn. Newborn needs you for everything, every single thing. And, for like it's a survival issue. So it's not like you can just ignore it. But that the season doesn't last forever. And even now, like, I'm still in a season of, baby has intense needs. And there's not a lot of time I can devote to just setting him down and working on something, giving something else my full focus. We're not in that kind of season yet. It might be a while before we ever get into that season. But it has helped me to remind myself it's just a season of life. And it will change eventually to a new season, which will bring new benefits, new challenges. but it is a temporary thing where at some point in the future, I'll be able to focus more time and energy into my project. The next thing is to remind myself that every little bit counts. So, you know, when you have a baby, and I'm sure many people can relate to this, at least I think so, that when you have a baby and you're just you have a big creative project that you're working on, or if you just happen to be a very creative person or something like that, just because the baby's born doesn't mean that the ideas stop, or that you just completely stop thinking about your project. And so, and it can get really frustrating when you don't have the time or ability to let out those ideas as much as you want to. But I do think something that's helped me, at least, is allowing yourself to enjoy or take pride in the fact that every little bit counts. If you just have time to write down like a little jot in your notebook, or put down a note of something you want to happen, you know, in your book or whatever project you're working on, or if you get down like one little sentence. Sometimes some days are just that way. Some days are a 1 sentence day, some days are a 0 sentence day, and you have to focus entirely on something else. But maybe you were able to think of a new way to you know, resolve a conflict, or like a chapter ending or something like that. Every little bit counts. It doesn't matter if it's one word, it doesn't matter if it's just a little idea. Everything is a step forward toward the end goal, which is finishing your project. And so that's been helpful for me to just remember that I don't have to write 1,000 words or more in order to feel like I've accomplished something, because now you're dealing with lots of competing priorities, and you know, obviously a child's going to be a very large priority, so it's okay if other priorities look a little smaller in comparison. And so that, to me, that means like, you know, every little sentence or paragraph I'm able to write down, a huge step in the right direction. The next thing, and we're getting to like maybe a little more practical sort of strategies to help make, you know, adjust and make things work. And that is utilize every resource you can. Try to be as efficient as possible with, you know, whatever it is you are wanting to do. And so that might look like, if you have a support system. I know a lot of people, you know, you don't have a lot of family in the area, or enough money to hire a babysitter or something like that, or maybe your baby doesn't do well with babysitters. So all those things are completely valid, but I think I've slowly over time managed to find little ways here and there that I can kind of integrate my creativity into a routine. For instance, you know, a big one is utilizing nap time. Sometimes during nap time, it's just not going to work for me. Like my brain is just not in the right place to do any writing. But when it is, I try to have my iPad, or even like my phone or notebook nearby, where I'm, you know, sitting with him to nap, because he's a contact napper. I can't put this baby down. It's okay though. And so I have things nearby to like be able to put stuff like ideas down, or if I finally realize how I want to finish a chapter or something like that, I can at least make some progress toward that till he wakes up. And so that means I'm not like making progress in huge chunks of words, like 1,000 words at a time or more. It's more like, just if I can write a paragraph like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, whatever, eventually I actually make a lot of progress and get a chapter finished. So that works out pretty well. Well, you can see right here, I'm making a video while I walk with him in the carrier. That's been a helpful thing. Like, I've been wanting to add things to my YouTube channel or make videos, and so this has been a way to kind of combine, or like kill two birds with one stone. We're going on a walk, I'm getting exercise, he's getting fresh air, and I get to do a little bit for my social media presence. What else? Yeah, I'd say, like, you know, whatever way. And I guess another thing is like, it often doesn't work because he's a little tiny barnacle baby. But maybe if like my husband or my mom is over and he's entertained by them for 5 seconds, I can go and maybe focus a little bit for, you know, however long I can manage on writing down something or figuring out, like trying to plan my next thing, my next chapter, whatever it is. So I think like using every little resource, using every little adaptation that you can in order to make your life more conducive to creative output, that could be really helpful. It's been really helpful for me, just finding every little way that I can utilize. Especially, I think a big help for me has just been having things nearby when he's napping to write stuff down. And here's the big one, and this is the most important rule or guideline or mindset by far, I think I should have when trying to balance parenting and your creative output, which is to give yourself grace. It's so important. I'm the worst at it. Just a caveat there. I'm the worst at it. It's so hard for me to give myself grace and give myself, you know, time and some mercy. Like, I'm the one who puts the most pressure on myself, but I do know that in general, there's a lot of pressures just like from society, maybe your social circle, maybe your fans that have like very high expectations, and they kind of want you to do the same amount of output or the same amount of productivity as before, but that's just simply impossible. And we should not expect that of ourselves. For now, in this season, my days of writing 1,000 words at a time are largely over. There's been a couple times where I've been able to write a lot, but overall, I've just had to give myself a lot more grace. And understanding that some days are a mess. Some days I have to focus all of my energy on taking care of my little bubs. And some days, even if he isn't, you know, having as high of needs at that time, sometimes I have high needs. Sometimes I need to just take a break and not have to add to my mental load of all the things that need to be done. And so, yeah, I think giving yourself grace and allowing yourself time and adjustment and let, you know, relieving your own, the pressure that you're putting on yourself, or acknowledging that the pressure that others may be putting on you is perhaps not a realistic expectation. I think that can be really freeing, and that's really helped me. I know, like, my initial goal was to finish my 5th book, the first draft at least, and have it published by the end of this year, 2023. And as this year has gone on, I realized that's just not going to happen. I wish it could. It'd be so nice, but that I've had to make so many adjustments in my, you know, my life, my mindset, my energy output, and it's just going to take the time it needs. And I really don't want to rush this book. It's the final book. I want to stick the landing as best I can. I don't want to rush it and put out something that is not satisfying to me or anyone who reads my books. So yeah, I think like taking your time, it's much better to take your time and put out something that you're happy with than it is to rush through it and try to force it out, just for the sake of like satisfying some sort of need to get things done on a certain timeline or meet someone else's expectations. I think all those are not good ways to go about it. So giving yourself grace and time to adjust, time and grace to acknowledge that you're going through a lot, you're doing a lot, you're probably doing a great job at whatever it is you're trying to do, and allowing yourself to be like, okay, I don't have to force something to happen that needs to take its time. I don't want to try to put this unfair dichotomy between caring for my baby or finishing something like a project that I care about. Like, they don't have to be at odds with each other. You can try to gently give yourself time to, you know, put something down here or there. It doesn't have to be on anyone's timeline but what you and your family need. So I just wanted to say that I think all those things have helped me in some way over the course of this year just not be so, you know, guilt tripping myself and feeling all this like I'm failing somehow. Like, none of that is true. I know this on a logical level. Feeling it on an emotional level is something completely different, but it's at least helpful for me to acknowledge on a logical level. So yeah, I hope that's helpful for you. If you have anything else you want to add, please share in the comments below. And if you're interested, check out my books.